worthy of my Mm. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
How's everybody doing?
Excellent. It's so nice out.
Is it? I actually haven't been outside
It's
today.
so nice. I didn't have a fifth period Zoom,
Hmm.
so I went outside and played frisbee. It's really nice.
Nice. Hmm. I was contemplating going out to my little patio, but I would need my headphones. I don't know where they are. Oh, I wish this was in the sun. Is it too cold for me? This may be too cold for me. I'm not gonna make it out here. It's too cold. I'm not in the sun at all, so it's a little chilly.
Oh yeah, it's really only nice in the sun.
I wish my little patio was in the sun because I have this hammock stand, and when I put the hammock out, it's so nice, but it gets cold because it's never in the sun. Sucks. Okay. Well, get excited because you're gonna get your last major writing assignment today. I actually I think I've just posted it. I'm gonna go through it with you in just a sec. This is, yeah. Okay, so there's actually two ways that you can access it. Okay. If you go to assignments, you have here your essay 1, essay 2, and essay 3. It looks a little bit different for me than it does for you. So when I click on it, it doesn't really show me anything. I have to go through a bunch more steps to actually see it. But you can also find it, and actually could have found it the whole time, by going to content, grade assignments, essay assignments, research essay. I just have this pulled up in another tab for no particular reason. Okay, so it's really relevant to what we've been looking at these last 4 times that we've had new texts, and we'll get another one next week. And by the way, I don't think I actually said your post for the mass shooter thing is due next Friday. That one and the one that we get next week will both be due next Friday, which you can always see on the English 101, 102 due date calendar.
Are there any quizzes?
I wish you hadn't asked me that.
Dang it!
Because there weren't any, and apparently over break they uploaded 2 more. So I'm trying to figure out, do I have to give you those? And I don't think that I'd have to, but I do think that they'd be pretty useful. So I'm considering just going through them with you 1 or 2 days in class, because they're about research and MLA stuff. So I'm gonna think on that. But I just feel like I had said beforehand that that was the last quiz you'd have, except for the final cumulative quiz, which isn't important. So we'll see. I'll come back to that, but probably not today. Okay, so the research essay is about the influences of modern media. Just first off, some basic requirements. Should be at least 1,200 words in length. That's lengthy, but not too bad. Not you're not writing a novel or anything. Make sure that you have a strong argumentative thesis statement that clearly lays out what you'll discuss in your paper. Use the scholarly tone for writing a formal paper. And I think that we had some pages at one point about scholarly tone, like during the writing section. Support your argument with evidence from your research, include proper MLA in-text citations and works cited page. You must have at least 4 sources for your essay, and you must have a variety of source mediums. And I'll go back to that in just a minute, a variety of source mediums. But they just want you to know there's more stuff under the content tab about like writing strong thesis statements, what the scholarly tone is, how to include quotes. I'll show you guys in a minute where all that stuff is. And a checklist for revising your own paper. So a few more basics. 12-point font, no fancy fonts, Arial, Times New Roman, that kind of thing. Make sure to double space the entire paper. This is all formatting stuff. Include your name, date, and course number in the upper left-hand corner and create an original title. So your subject is, you have like, I think 13 options actually. But we'll go through them in just a sec. Provide a well-researched discussion of a specific contemporary topic or ongoing controversy in which you provide your own thoughts on the topic. Examine each topic closely, think about what it's asking, and then choose the one that you think you'll do the best job on. So here's our topic options. Actually, why do I have this so small? Let's, come on. Okay. Does modern media do more to benefit or harm today's society? And you would need to narrow that topic. Media is too broad of a term for a focused research paper. So, if you wanted to do like social media, television, video games, something more specific. You'll notice that some of these are underlined, such as the second one, is social media making us more narcissistic? Well, I'm gonna, this worked earlier, what the heck? Fudge. Okay, I don't know why this is not working, but okay, now what? Okay, some of them have links. I don't know why it opened the wrong one, but they have links from like newspapers and stuff that can help kind of jumpstart you. So if you're interested in any of the ones that are underlined, I would definitely take a look and, kind of read through what they have. Hey, this was written longer ago than I thought because it says Saturday Night Live does not have a Black woman as a cast member. And we at least have Leslie Jones, who's hilarious. So does TV capture the diversity of America yet? Oh, and we have our first Black Bachelor. I started watching it last night. Is TV too white? Is that kind of similar? I don't know. Does modern media make us more alone? Should what you say on Facebook be grounds for getting fired? I'd be interested to hear y'all's perspective on that.
Oh, didn't we talk about something similar last year?
About getting fired for what you say on Facebook?
Not on Facebook but like getting online background checks, like checking.
Yeah, I think we did actually, but I'm trying to remember what that was.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I feel like I remember us talking about like people who get like canceled on Twitter for something they said whenever they were like 7.
Yeah, right about that actually. And I can't remember like what would have brought that up, but I kind of remember like bringing up the fact that Dave Chappelle talks about Kevin Hart in his stand-up special because Kevin Hart, like ages and ages ago, had tweeted a joke about what he'd do if his son was gay, and like it was obviously a joke, but people didn't like it, and so, like that's why he got fired from hosting the Oscars.
Oh yeah.
Dave Chappelle was like, this man is like almost perfect, and you picked out like 4 tweets of his and decided that he wasn't good enough. So yeah, I kind of remember talking about that now. Is our culture, I feel like this is actually relevant too, is our culture of online shaming out of control? That's sort of going along the same lines. Did you guys read about the Bean Dad? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah,
What?
yeah.
No.
So this
Huh?
guy who I think he's a musician, but I don't know what band he's in. He tweeted the other day like a series of threads about how his 9-year-old daughter, I think, was hungry, and he told her to make some baked beans, which first of all, I'm like, why is that your snack for a 9-year-old? That's so weird. But she didn't know how to use the can opener. And rather than like showing her or doing it for her, he was like, well, you're going to figure it out. Like, ask yourself what the person who made it was thinking and try to walk yourself through that process. And like, she couldn't do it. And he was like, neither of us are eating another bite until you figure this out. And it took 6 hours. And so
What the
a lot of
heck?
people online are like, that's really not the way that you teach your child. And
Wait, what?
like,
This was a real thing?
yeah, this
Yeah.
was like 2 or 3 days ago.
I'll send you the
What?
thread. But
Okay.
I think the funniest part about it was that he was like talking about it as in he was like his words. That doesn't make sense. The way he was talking about it, he thought that he was in the right, which
Yeah.
was really funny.
Yeah, he was like really defending it. And I feel like it was probably a little bit exaggerated. Like Ken Jennings, former Jeopardy champion and possibly future Jeopardy host, apparently hosts a podcast with this guy. And he was like, just for the record, he's like a storyteller and he sometimes like bends the truth for comedic effect, but also just to like lay everybody's mind at rest. I have heard him, like, I've seen him parent his kid, and like, he's a really good parent. Like, don't let this one thing that he's saying ruin your opinion of him. But I don't know, it was kind of a ridiculous story.
There's so much coverage of Bean Dad on Twitter.
I know, right? And I didn't know what it was at first. I had to Google Bean Dad because I didn't get the original thread.
Like he had to make a public apology.
I I feel like it was such a misstep to tweet that. Just because I feel like it's easy enough to predict what's going to go over well and not. And sometimes you say stuff that, you know, you don't realize is going to make people mad. But I feel like if he'd thought that through, maybe he'd have been like, oh, people are not gonna think that's good parenting.
Apparently Bean Dad used to say like he used to say slurs, but he apparently it was like sarcastic and ironic.
What?
Yeah, apparently on Twitter.
I'm very curious about that. I might have to look into Bean Dad a little bit more.
I think my brain is melting from reading the word Bean Dad.
I know, right? And then Mr. Bean was also trending because he said something about how like cancel culture was stupid, and I don't remember like why it was offensive the way he said it, but people are like, cancel Mr. Bean too. I don't know. It was a lot
That's
of,
ridiculous. You can't cancel him.
right? That's what I think too.
It's
I read what he said, and like I don't remember it off the top of my head, but I don't I feel like it wasn't bad what he said. If anything, he was probably just like, people think their opinions are more important than they really are. I don't know. Let's get through the rest of these. To what extent can gender stereotypes in the media be harmful or beneficial? Do violent video games make people more violent in real life? There's definitely a lot of info about that one. Should distracted driving be punished like drinking and driving? I remember reading this thing, and I've remembered this statistic like my whole life. I think I read this in high school, and they said that um, driving after not sleeping for 17 hours would make you would like affect your brain the same way that having an illegal blood alcohol content level would. So strange. I've definitely driven without sleep for 17 hours.
That's
Uh,
irresponsible.
oh, sorry, what, Tom?
That's irresponsible.
It is irresponsible, I know.
Also, this isn't like really on topic, but I'm scrolling through Twitter and apparently there's like a really, really big protest going on in the Capitol. Like,
Yeah, I think
yeah,
it's Trump organized it, right?
yeah, it's about. I think it's about the electoral college and stuff because
Hmm.
like they breached the Capitol building.
Yeah, because they like the electoral college is confirming Biden today, so I guess
Yeah,
it's he chose to do it because he's still trying to figure out a way to win. A little late. How should schools address cyberbullying, if at all? Discrete
True.
screen time do more harm than good for the youngest members of society, children, and doctored photos, okay or not? I'm a little bit.
What does that mean?
I'm gonna look into that one because I don't understand it, or I'm gonna try to. This
Just
thing does not want me to.
just like photo editing.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, like in like modeling photos where they, this one with hips narrower than her head. Like, is it lying or misleading people and like promoting unrealistic beauty? I don't know. Yeah, how do you think photos of digitally enhanced bodies affect you and other people? Should such photos carry warnings or be banned? That's interesting, actually. Like just a little note that says this has been doctored.
I think for that, and it should be I know what I was going to say, but I completely like forgot like 90% of the words that I know.
Okay, that's pretty bad, 90%. Okay, so that's your 13 subject topics that you can choose from. And I probably won't keep you guys the whole time because I want to give you some time to like kind of look into these and figure out which one you might want to write about. And tomorrow we'll go more in depth about how to use the online databases and stuff that are available through Trident. But let's finish looking at the info for the actual paper. You have to have at least 4 sources for your essay. You might need more than 4, and that's totally fine. They can come from books, magazines, journals, online databases, or internet websites. But there's a typo here. But do not rely completely. Do not rely completely on one type of source. Like, don't only use internet websites. Definitely don't use only internet websites because I probably don't trust any student, and I might not even trust myself to use only reputable websites. Like if that was the only thing you're using. That doesn't mean that you have to have one of each type of source. You could do like 2 of one, 2 of another. You could have 4 different types, but you don't have to. Do not use Wikipedia as a source. I think I've said this before. My favorite professor in college one time said the words, "If you use Wikipedia as a source, I will stab you in the heart." And I feel a similar sentiment, but I wouldn't threaten violence to a high school student. You can get away with that kind of thing in college. All sources have to be represented within the text of the essay, which means that you have to cite each source at least once. That should kind of go without saying, but I would say if you're only using 4 sources, then you would need to make sure that you cite each one at least once. If you're using more than 4 sources, you might just use some of those as information to help you but without directly citing them. And that would be fine. Hopefully that makes sense. Your essay does have to have a works cited page that lists the sources used in your essay. It'll be written according to the MLA format, which again has got me thinking about these quizzes and how I want to approach those. The works cited page does not count towards the required length of the essay, 1,200 words, not including works cited. So for getting started, we're going to do some of this stuff tomorrow, like going on to the library online and kind of showing you guys how to use it and some of the better databases. You can also try an advanced search on Google to see what sources are available on the internet. And that could possibly provide you with a bibliography on other available sources. Just keep in mind that if you are using websites, to make sure that they're reputable, meaning .coms are almost never going to work unless it's like a news website, and you could potentially use that. But probably not like The Onion. Look for real books. I know we hardly ever use real books anymore, but that's an option. It's pretty much already been said, all of that stuff, except for plagiarism has been a problem with this assignment. If you don't understand what plagiarism is, I question that. But ask me about it, because plagiarism of any kind, which includes not citing your sources correctly, can result in a failing grade. And if you literally just like copy and paste something from somebody else's essay, that's a big no-no. You'll get a 0 and you'll probably get in real trouble. So any questions about like the requirements or anything?
Can we only use those 13 things?
Yes.
Okay.
Now I would say you could probably like rephrase your questions a little bit if you got to reading about one and it kind of led you to something else. You could potentially do like an offshoot of this question. But yeah, these are our modern media questions. Any other questions about any of this, any of the topics, any of the criteria? I should tell you when it's due. The 28th, I believe. Yeah, so you've got a little while, which is nice. 1, 2, 3 weeks, a little bit over 3 weeks. But I also want to encourage you, and I may even like assign some days to be like, we're not going to meet today, meet instead with the tutor and like get that participation point for doing that. But I'll think on that, because after next week, we're not really going to have like, this is going to be our main thing. We're not going to have another text, no more posts after next week. So a lot of time to dedicate to this, which is good. Okay, any other questions or anything? Okay, so what I actually want to do is like, I'll stay here on the call for the rest of the time, but I just want you guys to like kind of explore these questions a little bit and see if you find stuff that you feel like this is what I want to write about, and just kind of try to hone in on your topic, because that is the first step, figuring out what you're going to research. And tomorrow I'll show you how to research it. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off my video, mute myself. Y'all can certainly leave if you want to do this independently, but I'll hang around in case y'all have questions.